Hey folks, my name is Jen, and today we are going to discuss my plans for 2024. So, I don't think I've done this before necessarily, figured out my plans for the year. Well, I mean, I figured them out, but I don't think I've done like a video sharing them before, but I figured why not. I have some goals that I have written down for reading specific, reading and video related, and then straight up video, like YouTube plans. So I figured let's share those thoughts. So basically this year I have a lot of books that are unread on my shelf. This whole bookcase is basically full of books that are unread, majority of which that I own. There are several that I have borrowed from other people, and then there are also several that I have read before, but it's been years, like multiple years, and I would like to revisit them now that I am an adult, or now that I'm an older adult. And then there's also some that I want to reread because I didn't own copies before. I used to check them out at the library, or I had them for school, and now I have my own copies and I just want to revisit them. But I have a lot of books. I still have not counted how many that I have, and I have not been well, but I'm feeling a little bit better today, and I'm hoping to be well enough to go to Barnes & Noble tomorrow, because I have a couple of gift cards that I received for like my birthday and Christmas for Barnes & Noble, and there are a few books that I have had my eye on for a while that I'm hoping to get there. So I'll be adding even more to this. I'm honestly quite terrified to count how many unread books that I own, but I do have the goal to read at least 52 of my unread books by the end of 2024. So that's goal number one. I do have a lot of rereads that I want to try to possibly do this year, but for the most part, I think really what I want to do is read 52 unread books. I'm not 100% sure what I am going to be putting my reading goal on Goodreads at. I'm currently debating whether or not I want to continue to be on Goodreads, or if I want to switch over to StoryGraph, just because Goodreads has been down for the past 48 hours, and it's basically just like another nail in the coffin for how annoying it's gotten to be on there. So I don't know, I might end up switching over to something else, but I do know that my goals are basically going to be either 52 books, or I might make it 60 again, and just really try to focus on 52 from my unread shelf being the ultimate goal. I also have some priority books. I have top priority books that I desperately need to finish for this year. I've got 12 of those, and then I also have 12 high priority nonfiction. Last year I did a goal where I would try to every month in my TBR put one of my Nightstand of Shame books on there and put a classic on there. My unread classics are mostly under control at this point, so I still have a few that are unread, but at this point unread nonfiction is what is out of control, and I really want to try to get on top of that. So I am switching it to trying to focus on Nightstand of Shame books and nonfiction. Which brings me to, I guess it's more of a video thing, but yeah, basically I'm not doing monthly TBRs anymore. I think I'm gonna have this video come out after my TBR video, but I am making the switch to seasonal TBRs just because monthly TBRs ended up being a little bit, I don't know, I ended up feeling a little bit discouraged with how I was doing last year. But then again, I wasn't really in a reading slump, but I was definitely not feeling as enthusiastic, I guess, about a lot of things this past year. So I'm gonna switch things up into seasonal TBRs instead. We'll see how that goes this year. Also, for reading goals, like I said, I have a lot of rereads that I want to get through. I've got basically some Clive Cusslers. That's a big thing that I want to get through. I have my Clive Cusslers. Some of them I have read before, but it's been a while, and then some of them I haven't read before, and I really just want to do like a chronological by publication date read of them. Just the ones that I own. He wrote so many, and I do not own most of them, but I just want to do like a chronological read through of what I do have on my shelves. And I'd like to try to accomplish that sometime this year. I'm thinking about starting that in the springtime, though, and continuing on through, like, the summer. I'm kind of jonesing to do a reread of Sherlock Holmes. I have the complete Sherlock Holmes. I've got Volume 1 and Volume 2, which I believe is all of his stories. Minus, of course, any that, like, fan fiction people have written or whatever. So, yeah, I think that I would like to do a reread of these this year, but there's so many of them, I don't know how that's gonna look. But I would like to at least start trying to do a reread of them this year, just because I've been kinda jonesing to read them again, because it's been a while. Let's see. So I move on to reading and YouTube goals. So one of those is completing my reading of the Georgia Nicholson series. So last year, we're still in this year basically, in 2023, I read Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging, and I started reading On the Bright Side, I'm Now the Girlfriend of a Sex God. You can see I did not get that far into it. What I was doing was I wanted to reread the series, which was a major favorite of mine when I was a teenager, because I never actually read the last 3 books in the series for whatever reason. I think maybe I'd moved on in interest, or I just kind of forgot about them. I don't know. I'm thinking that maybe I was in college by that point and just focused on other stuff. But whatever it was, I did not finish reading the series. So I wanted to reread the first 7 books and then finally finish the series by completing the last 3 and vlog the entire experience. I started vlogging what I had read so far, and then just kind of got out of the habit because I wasn't in the mood to read these, and I was feeling very overwhelmed by everything else I was trying to do. But I would like to continue doing this reread and the vlogging experience, and then kind of coming up with my feelings about the series as a whole at the end. I will say that book 1, there are a couple of parts of it that did not age so well, but there is still this inner, like, 15-year-old in the early 2000s inside of me that I still enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, I want to continue doing that. I also have other things that I'm reading. I'm doing my reread and annotation of The Count of Monte Cristo, which is for my favorite classics video, and then I also have some rereads of other books that I really want to do this year so I can complete my favorite books of all time videos, like, series. So that will be the first one, will be my favorite classics, and then I also have some rereads that I want to do for other, and annotations of other books for, I also have my favorite mysteries of all time and my favorite literary fiction / contemporary books of all time. So those will be coming out some point during the year. I know classics will be the next soonest one. I'm hoping to have that out by the end of January, but it might be into February depending on how reading goes. And then I think I will do mysteries next and end on literary fiction and contemporary, or I might switch that up, but those will be coming out this year too, so I'll have a lot of rereads and then those videos. Then I have another reading project that I've been doing. I don't know if I've brought it up in any videos briefly at all. I don't think I did, because I was thinking about just kind of doing it and then not talking about it until I came out with the video, but then I was like, I might as well tell you guys and see if this is something you're actually interested in. I tried to read some hyped books over this past year. A couple of books that I was like I wasn't too sure about that I read earlier in the year, and about partway through the year I was just talking about different books and things that I didn't like and stuff like that with some friends, and it was kind of expressed to me that I might be a little bit too judgmental about certain books or authors or tropes and certain things like that. And I don't know if that's just me in general or if that's the curse of, you know, writing, just having certain things that I just cannot fully shut my brain off for. I don't know, but I was thinking a little bit more about it, and I was like, maybe I should figure out if I'm a little too judgmental about things. So I had started already, without even really thinking about it, trying to read hyped books, not having so good a time with some of them. And then I decided, you know what, maybe that would be a good idea to actually read or attempt to read these books that I have said previously, whether here on videos or in out and about in real life, books that I will never ever fucking read, and actually trying to read them and then documenting that. Of course, I came up with this full idea late in the game, so some of it I've already attempted. And I think I did try to vlog a little bit of it. So basically the video that I'm hoping to come out with, this probably won't be until like near the end of 2024 most likely, but basically what I'm going to do is going to be part report, part vlog, and then my conclusions, basically whether or not I'm being a little too judgy about books, basically trying to go to try out books that I've said I will never read for certain reasons, or books that maybe I had tried to read before and just gave up on, and I'm going to try to give it another go and see how that goes, and basically come to a conclusion if I'm too judgmental or if it's just that I know what I like at this point and I just want to stick with that. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I have already been surprised by a couple of books that I had previously said I wasn't interested in, and I've just kind of had things confirmed with some other books. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes, but that is something that I'm planning. So if you see me reading or DNFing any books more that you previously heard me say, I'm never gonna read that, that's why. I'm just kind of trying to do this whole thing. Okay, for YouTube specific things, I still have suggestions that I am working my way through. I have I did not forget, I swear, the manga for newbies recommendation video. I am almost done with my notes. I was just finishing up those and then I got sick. So I just need to finish up those notes and then actually sit down and film it, and I'm hoping to actually film it either today or tomorrow and be able to hopefully get that video edited and up for you either the end of this week, this first week of January, or maybe into next week, depending on how things go. But I did not forget, and that will be coming out soon. And I also have I have like 3 other suggestions for videos that I am working on. One I just need to sit down and do, and then the other 2 require some prep work, and one of them I did start prep work on, but I just the holidays, so I didn't really get around, but those will hopefully be coming out in the next couple of months as well. This month of January is going to be pretty much probably overloaded with 2 videos a week because there's a lot that I want to get done in January. You know, I had my TBR, so I'll be coming up this reading plans video. I've got my December wrap up, my end of year wrap up and stats and everything like that as usual. Best reads of the year, worst reads of the year, and all of that jazz basically that I want to get into. And I haven't decided if I'm going to do an anticipated reads of the year. I don't think I'm going to, because I get excited about things and then it's still like 3 years before I actually get the books and read them. But I don't know. There were a couple of things that I found that are coming out that I'm so damn excited about, so I don't know. I might also do an anticipated reads list, or I might not. We'll see what happens. So January and maybe into February is going to be really chock full of videos, but this is honestly not very sustainable for me. So we'll probably calm down after that and go back to what it has been for the past several months, which is 1 video a week, either on Thursday or Friday, and then occasionally, if I get my shit together, also having, hey, you got another video that came out on Monday as well. So, that's that basically. Something that I really want to do is, I think I want to do more weekend reading vlogs. I've kind of, not particularly for anybody's comments here, but I've kind of seen different feedback things online that I've seen about whether or not people like reading vlogs, and a lot of people seem to not like them. But let me know how you guys personally feel about them. I would like to do more of them here, not like a lot of them. This will not be like a monthly thing or whatever, but it is something that I like to do more of, like occasionally here and there, just because I don't know, it feels more like a lazy thing for me to do. It involves no prep work. I can do it on the sly, and the editing process is a bitch. That's definitely something that I'm not particularly fond of for them, but the filming it is just, it's giving me a little bit of a breather, in all honesty. And even though I have a lot of goals and I have a lot of things that I want to get to this year, I am someone who is 100% a person who always bites off way more than she can chew in any given situation, and I have really high expectations for myself and then get really disappointed if I don't meet them. And I think that me getting sick right after the holidays, when I need to be busy with things and actually have time to relax, I feel like this was my body's way of telling me, yo, you need to like calm down. You actually have to take time to process. So I'm going to try, I think, to do more of those here and there. If I just feel like I need a break, or I just need like some time to actually make myself read something. Like if I'm having trouble getting into a book, maybe this will actually force my hand and force me to spend like a weekend sitting down and actually reading and doing things, and you know, have things interspersed throughout if I go for any walks or I do any like other things. But yeah, it's more something that I want to do more of. And not to say that this is a lazy thing for everybody, because I know that there are so many people that I see their vlogs and they have such beautiful shots. I know it must take them a lot more, they must put in a lot more effort than I do. But yeah, it's just something that I want to kind of have here and there spaced out, just because, but I don't know if you guys are into that, or if it's something that really annoys you. I guess let me know. I would like to take part in more readathons and be more involved in the community and stuff like that. It's just, it feels really hard sometimes because I have so many things that I need to keep track of. I'm actually planning on buying myself an actual agenda this year to keep better track of my shit again. Because I feel like I have so many balls that I am juggling and then I drop all of them. So yeah, one of the things that I really wanted to do was to take part in more readathons, but I also don't want to, again, put more undue pressure on myself. So I think this will be we'll see how things go. I do know that I want to do middle grade March potentially, just because that's something that I really like revisiting or picking up new middle grade books. So we'll see, but I'll see if there's any others that I really want to make time for this year. I do want to try to be more involved in the community as well. I know I have been a little bit more this past year, and I like to keep that up if I can get out of my own head enough to keep that up. There's something that I have been discussing off and on with my husband, something that I want to do, basically manga versus anime chats, where he and I would watch an anime and then also read the manga and kind of have like a little discussion for y'all about the adaptation and like what, if there's one that we like better than the other, or what we thought about everything. And I know there's one in particular that I was talking with him about, which I thought was a good thing to start on, which is Haven't You Heard of Sakamoto? It's a 4-book manga series by Nami Sano, and we both really enjoyed the anime. He has not read the manga. I have read the manga. It's sitting over here. Have him, I would reread it, he would read it, and then we'd rewatch the anime and discuss it. We loved the anime when it came out. That's actually our cat, Sakamoto, is named after that character. Yeah, that's something that we're thinking about doing. I think we'll potentially do that at some point during this year and just kind of test it out and see how it goes. And if it's something that is good, maybe we'll do other stuff in the future, other not long stuff, but like shorter series, or maybe get into Ghibli or something like that we can do. But yeah, it's just an idea of something that I like to do this year. I'd also like to do something that I'd wanted to start last year, but then just could not get around to it. Something that I thought of author chats. I don't know if this is something that would be interesting to anyone. It's just interesting to me. I really wanted to do like a deep dive on authors and read, like, if there's read a lot about them, if there's like a biography, autobiography, memoir, whatever, read all that information about them, and then basically do a video kind of summarizing them, their life, their work, how it gives context to their work, their life experiences and things that they were trying to do with it, and then also maybe talk a little bit about my favorite piece of theirs. So yeah, I thought that that might be a fun thing to do. There were popular writers that I was thinking of doing this on, like, you know, Stephen King, Amy Tan, Charles Dickens. But then I was also thinking about maybe doing it on slightly less popular authors as well, like Lloyd Alexander. I know he's pretty popular, but maybe not as well known as the others. And then Howard Frank Mosher, who is one of my favorite authors of all time. He was a Vermont writer, and I know he's popular enough, but maybe not like huge. And yeah, I wanted to do that kind of thing, and maybe also try to do that for other maybe smaller authors, as well as I kind of come around to them and be like, oh, I could do that person, I could do, you know, that kind of thing. Basically that would be like a series. I'm calling it author chats. I'll come up with a better name for it at some point. But that's basically what my thought was for that. I don't know who I'll start with. It might be a bigger name person, because I do have a couple of author memoirs on my shelves that I've read or haven't read yet. So it might be one of the bigger ones first, because I have ready access to stuff at the time, and then get around to other people later. But yeah, that was my thought. Let me know if that's also interesting to you. This might be something that's only interesting to me, I don't know. And then the last big goal I have for YouTube this year is a updated bookshelf tour. I would really like to do one of those, but I actually plan on saving that for either late spring or sometime in the summer, because that is when, hopefully, the basement will be finished. Our basement project will be hopefully done by then, or at least 95% done. And that's about the time when I'm gonna set up the library, because I can't right now. It's full of other things because we're working on the rest of the basement at this moment, so it's full of other stuff that needs to go in the rest of the basement. So once that's finished and everything, then I can like move stuff around, rearrange things, and then put all my books down there, set everything up. And my plan for that will be to give you guys like an overview of what the library actually looks like, and then included in that I'll do an in-depth bookshelf tour, so you can see everything that way too. So that's my plan for this year. I'm guessing it's gonna probably be later summer is what it will probably end up being, because I have to do a lot of other prep work and stuff, but yeah. Anyway, that's basically the goals for 2024. And now let me very quickly, or as quickly as I can, because I'm sure I've rambled enough already, get into the priority books that I have set aside for this year. So first up, there's priority fiction books that I really want to get through this year. The first of which is Falling for Hamlet. This is by Michelle Ray. This is a book that I have had on my shelves since like junior high or high school. It's been since high school. This is a modern retelling of Hamlet from Ophelia's point of view. I got this originally because I loved Hamlet when I read it in high school. And yeah, I started reading this in 2018, 2019, before I had a booktube, and never finished it. I can't remember what happened so far. I still have a bookmark in here. But yeah, I definitely really desperately need to get this off my nightstand of shame. Next up is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Again, I didn't get through this year. I desperately need to pick this up. I've said it before, I keep waiting for the perfect time to read it, and I just need to get over myself and actually just pick it up, because there's no perfect time for it. I just need to do it. And I really desperately want to read this book a lot. I think that it is, I know it's like such an important read, but I know it's also a pretty upsetting read, and I think that's partially why I didn't get to it this year, because it probably hasn't been showing as much on camera, but internally I've been struggling. So yeah, I just could not manage it this year, but I really do desperately want to pick this up, and I want to make this a priority for 2024. Another one I really need to get to is Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. I know it's been another year and I still haven't read this. I'm still one chapter in. Really just need to sit down and fucking bang it out. This might be a spring or most likely a summer read for me. Another classic that I really want to get to, this is actually one of the ones I am going to try to get to over the next couple of months, and it's The Scarlet Pimpernel by Baroness Orsi. It's about like a vigilante classic. This is actually the first in a series apparently, which I'm hoping if I really like it, I'll seek out the rest of the series. I'm like 6 chapters into this, really desperately need to get back to it. Next one I really need to get to is Firestarter by Stephen King. This is one that, I think this is the oldest unread Stephen King on my shelves. I've had this for years and just never got around to it. This is like classic King. I know I've attempted to read it a couple of times and just couldn't get into the first couple of chapters, so I don't know, I'm gonna try to find the perfect time to read this year and like get through it. Another book is Caramello by Sandra Cisneros. This is a book I've had since college and had not really read. As you can see, I started annotating it to get through it, and really enjoyed doing the annotations. Actually, it was just taking me a little bit to get through it, but I really want to get back to this. I might save this one for the summertime. Another one, this one's probably a spring read, but it's part of my Cusslers. This is Raise the Titanic by Clive Cussler. This is, I think this one came out before Iceberg, or maybe Iceberg came out before it, but this is, I think, one of the first ones that I need to read in my chronological Cussler reread. So I started it last April, and this is about as far as I got. I really need to get back to this. Then we have Saving Fish from Drowning by Amy Tan. This is, I don't know if this is her latest or is one of her latest books, I think. Oh, somebody left a little, I didn't notice that. I got this secondhand. No, it's not one of her latest, I don't think, but it's a book I hadn't heard of hers before. And I love Amy Tan's writing, but sometimes I tend to let her books sit on my shelf for a while, and I don't want to do that. So I really want to read this year, especially since I also, like I said, want to do an author chat about her maybe, and I have one of her writing memoirs on my shelves, so I'd really like to try to pair them together, like read this and read her writing memoir, and then like do everything. But yeah, really want to get to that this year. If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. This is one that I got halfway through last year and didn't finish. I desperately want to finish this book. I want to read more of his. I have another fiction book of his and a nonfiction book. But yeah, I was really loving it, but things were just getting a little rough, and like I said, I was kind of struggling, so I could not finish it at the time. But I really want to get through this because this has been really just beautifully written so far, and I want to get back to reading that book. I have another Stephen King on my list, The Institute. I was gifted this a couple of years ago and still have not picked it up. I mean, I tried to pick it up, and it was another one of those. I couldn't get past the first chapter, but I really want to get into that this year. And then Victoria by Daisy Goodwin. This is a historical fiction about the life of Queen Victoria. Basically her reign and things. To be completely honest, I have read, I'm interested in Victorian literature, and I know a lot of very cool facts about Victorian culture, especially in like England, in the US. I don't really know so much about the rest of the world in the Victorian era, but yeah, I know a lot about different traditions, and some of the really weird things that we do now are kind of based off of things that happened then, and it's interesting. So I'm interested in that kind of thing, but to be completely honest, I've never been a huge like person fascinated with the monarchy in general. I know random things about like kings and queens and stuff like that, but it's not, I've never been that fascinated to read about their lives in general. But my mom really liked this. I think she was watching the show too. But my mom really enjoyed this book, and my mom is not like a major historical fiction person, so if she really enjoyed it, that's probably saying something a lot. So this is actually hers. This is one of a few books of hers that I really desperately need to read and, you know, get it back to her. So, this is one that I definitely want to get through this year. Also, I want to try to read more historical fiction this year, because I read a range of historical fiction over the years. I don't think I really read that much this past year, so I'd really like to read more of that this year. And then the last like major book, which is actually one of the first ones I want to get to this year, is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. It's the first in a trilogy. I'm making it a priority for the winter months because it is the wintry Russian lore book. This is the one of the first ones. This and Scarlet Pimpernel are the major ones I'm going to try to get through this winter. And then there's also my 12 priority nonfiction books. So I picked 12, one for each month, and I'm going to try to space them out and try to focus on them within seasons, whichever ones they fit in at the time, or whatever ones that I just feel like I'm in the mood for at the time. So the first one of them is Notes of a Native Son by James Baldwin. This is basically a collection of his essays, I believe, and I really wanted to read this book ever since I saw a couple of interviews with him, and he just seemed like such a fascinating man and had so many like beautiful and interesting things to say. So I'm really interested in reading this collection. I'm not 100% sure if this has to do with his time abroad. I think that some of it might be. I know that a chunk of it is what it's like to grow up in Harlem, but I do believe that some of it has to do with his time over in, I believe he was living in Paris for a long time as well. So really want to get to that this year. I didn't put this on my winter list, but I'm thinking this is going to be a spring or a summer list. Then I also really want to get to The Gift of Fear, Survival Signals That Protect Us from Violence by Gavin de Becker. This is a book that I have heard talked about ad nauseum on one of the podcasts I really like to listen to. It's basically the host's like Bible, basically. It's something that they reference a lot and talk about a lot. And this guy worked with, who did he work with? He's worked with government agencies and stuff like that. He basically, his focus for years was analyzing threats to officials, like government officials, members of the Supreme Court, stuff like that. But he also focuses on like just everyday people, common threats, you know, like that kind of thing. Trying to see how to break down people's like body languages and kind of decoding your own brain's like signals that you're getting. If you ever have like a weird vibe off of someone, that's like your body, your brain picking up on something about this other person that signals potential danger and is like raising an alarm bell, even if you don't fully understand what the alarm bell is. If someone's making you deeply uncomfortable, even though they seem to be so nice, it might be like your own personal alarm bell going, no, 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 danger. So it's basically talking about that and kind of breaking it down, which is something that I'm fascinated in as someone who likes a lot of true crime and is slightly paranoid. I also really want to get to Audrey Hepburn, An Elegant Spirit, and this is by Sean Hepburn Farrar. This is a book that Audrey Hepburn's son wrote about her. I have, let's see, that's them. I really, Banks, stop. I really wanted to read this for a long time. I absolutely, oh my gosh. I have wanted to read this book for a long time because I absolutely adore Audrey Hepburn as an actress, as a person. I think she was just the most loveliest person. And yeah, so I really wanted to read this book for a long time. I've had this on my shelf for several years, but I've just kind of hesitated because I'm always afraid to learn a little bit too much about someone that I admire a lot, because I'm always afraid that I'm going to find out something really shitty. But I don't think that's going to be the case in here at all. It's just my own personal like worry. Another book you might have seen this on my winter TBR, is 10 Days in the Madhouse by Nellie Bly. I really want to read all of the Nellie Bly books that I got this year. I have 3 of them, 2 nonfiction and 1 which I'm pretty sure is fictional. But I think I want to really start with this one because I make this one a priority because this is the one, this was her first major breakthrough. This was her thing that put her on the map, and it also was responsible for making some changes. Not right away, but eventually changes were made a little bit. This was Nellie Bly's first-hand account of Bellevue Hospital. So is this mental institution, and there had been horrible rumors of horrible treatment and everything like that, and she went undercover. So I'm going to get to that this year. I also really want to get to The Man Who Made Vermeers, Unvarnishing the Legend of Master Forger Han von Meegeren by Jonathan Lopez. This is about a guy who forged famous artwork like Vermeers and stuff like that. He was found out after the war, I believe, and people were like, why'd you sell famous artwork to the Nazis, blah blah blah, and he was like, oh no, I didn't actually sell them anything. I made those. I forged them. So it's got art, it's about forgery, which is very fascinating to me, and it's also about someone sticking it to the Nazis, which is also very interesting to me. So I really want to read this book as well. I also want to finish Duchess of Death, which is the unauthorized biography of Agatha Christie. I got partway through it, and I really desperately want to finish reading this. Another World War II book is Code Talker by Chester Nez, and this is actually about one of the Navajo gentlemen who basically was one of the code talkers of World War II. And I am honestly not someone who really enjoys a lot of books about war, movies about war. It's not something that I really like that much, and I think that partially has to do with how traumatized I was by Pearl Harbor, the movie. But I just don't really go for that much. I did watch Wind Talkers when it came out because I adore Adam Beach, and seeing Nicolas Cage be serious for once was pretty good. But as soon as I found out that one of the gentlemen who was a code talker wrote a book, I desperately wanted to know that. I wanted to know more about it from someone whose experience were the words from their own words themselves. So I really want to pick this up this year. I'm not sure what part of the year I'm going to pick this up in. I'm leaning towards summer, but this might be more of a fall read. I wanted to read this last year and didn't get around to it, but Cultish by Amanda Montell. The Language of Fanaticism. This is one that I also want to pick up this year. There's also A is for Arsenic, The Poisons of Agatha Christie by Catherine Harkup. This one I'm probably going to be reading for a while because this is actually one of my writing research texts that I'm going through and making notes on. So this one will probably be sticking around for a while when I'm getting through it. I'm trying to go quick because my battery's almost dead. I also want to get through Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. This is a shorter work. Banks. She's being so annoying today. This is a shorter work which is basically, I believe, a letter from the author to his son, and just kind of discussing what it is like to grow up and be Black in the current culture and society. So I really want to pick this up this year as well. And then the last 2 books I really want to get to are, I really need to finish rereading The Sea Hunters, and I really want to get around to The Sea Hunters 2, which are 2 nonfiction books by Clive Cussler and Craig Durgo, because I love his writing and I just really need to finish this. So yeah guys, that's my reading plans for 2024. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you have any other suggestions for videos, let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for always watching, and I will see you next time.